Hey, everybody. I am not doing anything super duper exciting. I just have some things to work on, and you're body doubling for me. So I say that, and then the journal I want to work on is there it is. So I made this journal. I'll wait until there's a few people here to, I guess, start. I'm going to get a new spine for it, basically. So let's start there. Let's do 3/4 inch. Hello, whoever snuck in. Oh, back out again. I know other people are on live. I just really need it, like, for my own. I'm switching to doing 1 inch. Hi. Say hello, whoever snuck in on me. I am rebuilding a journal that I made, a quickie journal for Junk Journal July, and this has been on my shelf like this since I made it. And it's a hot mess express, so I am going to attempt to fix it without destroying the work I did. So we shall see. So I guess for posterity, I will flip through it. Also, then if something happens, I can remember the order I had it in, which not that it was in any specific order. So it has 2 signatures. And I would like to put it together in a way that I can actually use it. So that's what we're doing. So I am going to untie what I have currently halfway holding it together. And snippy, maybe. So this was for Junk Journal July UK, which is the people who started it are in the UK, but it was not just for people in the UK. And therefore, I joined in for the prompts play this summer, and it was pretty good for me to have some focus. Hi, Julie. How's it going? And I had tried reinforcing the spine because I just made it out of a piece of scrapbook paper, and then I had backed it, and it was kind of okay, but the spine was definitely not going to hold up once my signatures got a little chunky, and I hadn't even added much to them. So I am going to figure out how to put a spine on this without destroying it the rest of the way. How's life treating you, Julie? And well, I'm sure I do have the paper pad that this was done with, but I do not have it handy. And so I am going to attempt to do this with the things that I can find on my desk and in my general vicinity. So I need to cover the spine, although I'll cover that part after. But for now, so that whatever we have doesn't show through the color, I'm just going to put some scrap on there. Yay, there's 2 people now. Possibly one of them is my daughter sneaking in and should be sleeping in the next room instead of watching YouTube. Mess my numbers up by making my daughter go to bed. I don't think she's watching me, but I can hear her talking on her phone. So what are you up to, Julie? Anything fun? I should be making something like 100 Christmas cards. And that's just for, I have 25 bases made, but for Ginger Cat Club, for a few people I swap with, friends, family, and then clients. And I do not do all of my clients, or I would never be done making cards. I do select ones, and then I'll have store-bought cards for the... This is how I get in trouble, because somebody who's not one of those clients finds me on here. But I reckon the ones who would know I have a YouTube channel are the ones that get the good stuff going on. I'm great, by the way, Julie. I have the dregs of a cold that Lily brought home, cootie bug. And but in the scheme of things, she was sick way longer. So it's feeling like it might have been the flu, and I got lucky because I actually got my flu shot. So are you a junk journaler? I've seen you around, but I always feel like I don't know everybody and all their story. Like, card maker, junk journaler, random chatter, all the above. I sold an embossing tool to a lady the other day, and when I said something about making journal cards, she didn't know what that was, and I'm like, oh, good. Now I have to send her a journal card so she'll understand. My focus is not doing great on this. Not my personal ability to focus, but my... It's that... Isn't it? So weird. Sorry if that made you nauseous. There we go. That's very frustrating. Lily has the hiccups loud enough that you probably just heard it on the microphone. Anyway, well, I'll move those out of the way for the moment in case they're part of the problem. My glue dried while I was messing around with the camera. So right now, this is just a piece of like scrap that I tore off of it looks like a book page, but I don't know specifically what book. Mercy. And that is horrible. Why is it doing that? All right, well, Julia, you have me all, and I just realized I've been calling you Julie because my eyes aren't great. Julia, my bad. Ask me questions. You have me at your beck and call. Not that I am not a professional by any stretch of the imagination, but I am professionally crazy about doing all of the different things. I think if I had advice for anyone, it would be not to get too crazy buying all the exact same things that whoever has, because then you end up spending more time cleaning your craft room than crafting. I speak from personal experience. Like this week, that feels like all I've done is clean. And I still am not done. So, and junk journaling appeals to me. And it was funny because today I was watching somebody who was talking about that they've been junk journaling for 27 years. And I was like, what? And then she described it. And basically my senior book, like, you know, you get a book your senior year and you put memories and stuff in it. I junk journaled in 1992 because I did the cut up pictures and collage and do all of that crazy stuff instead of just doing it like standard right in the where you're supposed to do it. So junk journaling before it was cool. So new crafter. I'd say one of the most important things you can do is get a good good paper trimmer that you like. If you can, get one that does scoring and trimming, and then that way you don't have to also, like 6 weeks later, decide you want to make albums and have to buy a scoreboard. Acrylic painting, so you're way talented. That's awesome. Well, junk journaling and art journaling, you can bring that to you, bring it with you. Definitely. I've done some painting, but it's more like, you know, I look up the Grinch hand holding the thing or some pumpkins and basically copy it. So nothing fancy for sure. And I am using up some washi tape, which washi tape's its whole own addiction. And the problem with washi tape is that if you don't use it, it dries up or gets gunky, or so we want to hoard it, but we have to use it. What did you do for work before you retired? Yank. So this will basically, this part of this spine will, a lot of it will be basically invisible underneath, but it makes me feel better that when you look between the spines that it looks like something and not nothing. So. So have you done scrapbooking or anything in the past, or? And it feels weird because I know there's a delay on your end when you watch on YouTube. Hey, Lillian, go to bed. My 15-year-old forgets how to tell time. So this was one of the simplest junk journals you could make the way I did it. I made a spine in it, or you can just take, this is just a sheet of scrapbook paper that's moderately thick that I like, and I folded the bottom up around some corners, you know, and then fold it like this. And this is the way I made my first junk journals also. And I made this one with that plan, but then I got kind of crazy with some of my signatures and it got too chunky. So I needed to add a spine. So we're doing minor surgery, which in order to attach it, I'm going to have to do some more surgery. Look away. Just kidding, by the way. And I think this is the fun of junk journaling, and all of it is like, there is no rule. And when, if something doesn't turn out right, you can cut it up because it is your journal. And theoretically, you know, it's junk. It's not, I mean, mine was paper from an actual scrapbook paper, but that's supposed to be what we're doing is so this needs to go in here, and I have to think about how I want to attach it, since it's going to be ribbon maybe. I don't think I have enough of the ribbon I had used. Oh, awesome, Julia. Let me grab some ribbon, and then I will annoy you with stories of my son. I promise I won't actually try to be annoying. I'll just tell you. So my oldest has cerebral palsy, and he is mentally about 3 years old. So I understand where you're coming from on that gig. And I really, really appreciate that people do the job, because I don't know what I would do without the people who have helped over the years when we've had struggles. All right. So what's stopping you from making your first journal? I'm happy to shift gears if we want to just make our very first journal. I'll grab a sheet of scrapbook paper and make one with you. I have ADHD. I can pivot. I would say most people would say just do a simple one first, and I agree, because you build up confidence. But if you're one of those people that, you know, you want to do your research and get it perfect, then by all means do that. But I would say do something kind of like what I'm doing, what I did to this original one, but then don't get carried away with your signatures. Don't overthink what you can fit in it. So right now I am just gluing this ribbon to my spine. And this is that'll leave a little bit of a residue there. I may be soon regretting having used the washi because it's a little slippery. We shall see. And again, that's part of the beauty of this is if it doesn't work, we try again. So, and then I will glue this side on. So this time, instead of gluing on the ribbon, I'm going to, actually, I did glue on the spine, never mind. And this is Fabrifix, which is it's a very sturdy glue. So I use this for stuff like this where it's going to take a beating possibly. If I had some white duct tape, this would have been a time I'd have probably do white duct tape. I can't imagine, Julia, because I often said that I don't know that if Duncan had not been mine, that I could have done what I did, because it was my, my devotion to him that kept me going some days. So, and it can be, especially depending on how the, disability shows up. Some of them aren't. Duncan, luckily, is an affectionate person, so I at least got my payback when he wasn't upset with lots and lots of snuggles. And so I had, he had classmates who I just didn't know how their moms, went through it, the same thing I was going through, and then no snuggles. Not that the kids owe us anything. I'm not saying they do, but we all have our love language. And he was the world's snuggliest baby. And I just almost glued that to my desk. So is there a particular thing that you're struggling with getting started? I still struggle with believing that what I've chosen for signatures is an acceptable thing. This is a good reason to have a glass board, this making a mess thing. Like, I feel like I need to overthink it, and, other people just throw stuff together, and I'm like, I need 2 of these and 2 of these. Okay, you dry for a second. So I'll start with this side since that one needs some air. And I do not like to take a heat gun to the Fabrifix because it already has a bit of a smell. And with that ribbon, I did wrap it so that it went all the way around, which gives it some more sturdiness. And this Dollar Tree ribbon, I don't think they have it in. It was a thing I found during the fall. I mean, it's still fall, but early in the fall when they first got their fall stuff out. And I liked the color. Went with some stuff that I had. Stick down, jerk. Okay. And, Dollar Tree ribbon's cool because it's cheap, but sometimes the reason it's cheap is that you don't get very much. There's enough to do maybe 1 more spine total. I'm not sure where everybody's off to today because usually at least some of the Ginger Cat Club end up here, but they may be napping trying to get ready for Pam to come on early. So Juju's busy this week, so she's not coming on at her normal time, which, what are any of us supposed to do? What am I doing? Don't do that yet. So are you going to, let's make a goal. I know I'm not your mom, so don't just tell me eat a bug if the answer is eat a bug. To do some sort of journal for a December daily. Do you know what a December daily is? Which I have not even done a December daily because usually I'm too busy in December making cards. A December daily is just basically, like a journal, a junk journal for December, and you can journal in it however you want, but you make something that's a size you think you can manage, and then every day you put something, even if it's just like sat around the house, enjoyed eating bonbons, like, which is the best kind of Christmas day. But there's no rules to it, and like I made one for this year, and I've made it out of, or I've begun to make it out of a box from some Walker's shortbread, which just the shortbread box makes me happy. You don't have the supplies yet. Where are you located? I'm sending you some. Do you get junk mail? Because after I glue this, I cannot do anything else to it till it dries. So and that's going to be a few hours. So we can make a junk mail journal, no problem. Why do people ink the side of the paper? One of the reasons is to make it look old. The other is it gives it like definition from the paper behind it. In just a sec, I'll show you. Or like if you've got paper that isn't the color that you're working with, you can blend it in, sort of. Let me finish gluing this and then I'll. So there is no, so the thing is it's a very, I never say anything that's not that I plenty of stuff that I have blended, ink blended, and there's plenty of stuff I don't, because if I'm doing something, fussy isn't the word I'm wanting to use. I am trying to find my lid to my glue is what I'm attempting to stay. There it is. Okay. Do not stick to anything. All right. Let me show you in the pages from this journal. I have a very eclectic personality and style. So there are things I do that are like this, that are kind of retro and muted. And this is tea-dyed paper. I tea-dyed myself, and that's literally printer paper. So get you some printer paper, throw some tea bags in, cheap ones, not your favorite ones, or save your old ones, or coffee if you drink coffee instead. But like I could have inked the edges of this and it would not hurt the look. Here, I'll do it real quick. It's not gonna, like I said, it won't change the look enough for me to have and I use these little tiny daubers, and you can use makeup sponges. So that's the thing. You don't have to have every single thing to do some of the things that you need or want to do. But no rules. It's hard because, we all want to have whatever the famous person is selling or doing. And that can be expensive, and it can also be overwhelming because you get too much stuff and then you cannot keep up. So let's see if there's the inking the edges. If this was up against this page here, and you see the colors are pretty similar, it makes it look aged and it makes it stand out a little better from the outside. And so again, it's not something, I don't do it as much as I used to. I do it on things where if I'm collaging with book page, I might do the edges of the book page so that when the collage goes together, excuse me, you can see where oh my gosh, maybe if my camera didn't suck, you can see where the line is a little better. Fresno. I'm not familiar enough with California so are you close to Pam? I think I've seen you at Pam's, right? Is Fresno close to Sacramento? I am not great with California's layout. I mean, I know north, south, and central, but I don't know what cities are where. So, but like on things where your style like this is a page in the same journal. And that's the thing about junk journaling is nobody can tell you that it has to have a theme. And actually the beginning of junk journaling would have been definitely not a theme, but my sisters and I went to Holiday World here in Indiana, and our favorite time, and we rode some rides too, but there's a lazy river that you just sit like a bum in a floaty and float around and get sunburned. even if you're wearing your sunscreen. But these buttons are my sisters and I floating around in the... So it does not have to make a bit of sense to anybody else. And it does not have to, edges don't have to be inked. If you think, hey, I want to ink some edges, look at, like I have Stampin' Up! Inks as well. And you do not have to have this brand. These little tiny ones, buy a set. He has some of those too. A set of like 3 or 4 colors you like and you think you'll use, and use just those until you figure out what your style or what you like. This is a printable scrapbook pages, some scrapbook paper. Here, look. Peekaboo. Some people sneaked in on us. So I don't think I inked. Okay, on this one, this cluster here, I inked edges. And I made it separate from the whole thing. And it just makes it look aged. And then it separates it from the background. And then I actually liked the juxtaposition of this tag being kind of bright and ink smushed. And this is ink smushing, which we'll have to talk about on a different day. We had to do a door, and I just took this paper that looked like a barn and put my horse in it. And then just some scrapbook paper. This was, we'd have an envelope with blooms. Awesome. Well, wish you were slightly closer. I'm sending her some stuff. But seriously, are you on Pam's mailing list? I have a whole bunch of stuff I'm ready to donate to the local thing, like colored pencils. And so if you need some stuff, I will hook you up. And then again, this was just a page. That is a napkin, some random stamps. So message me over there and I'll hook you up, I promise. And I'm not in any, I want to donate stuff. And then this was all basically magazine page. And this, so if you look up collage fodder, it's doing this, like draw on a magazine page and then cut it out just for the pattern. So each of these flowers is cut out of a different pattern. And then because I wanted to play with the idea that it was all magazine, the whole background is out of a magazine except for this one little piece out of an atlas. So, and the thing about it is, it doesn't have to be beautiful to anybody else. It doesn't even have to be beautiful to you when you're first learning. You just have to play and figure out what it is that works for you. So, and more ink splatter, and that's more of my tea-dyed paper. So there is no rule, but you said you don't have the stuff. So right now, here's the stuff. This is about to be my next journal, and this literally a box of trash. So this is before it got the printable on the front, which, like, this printable from the Vintage Bee stationery. I'll look it up in just a second. My phone's down here someplace. I think was American dollars, $4.20, because it was British pounds. But this is like an ad I got from where I got my wedding rings. And I'm not buying more jewelry. I'm not even wearing the jewelry I have. And then some scrapbook paper I intend to add to it. But these are all junk mail envelopes, catalog type things like this. I haven't even opened this one. I don't even know it's a AARP thing. So all the crap you get in the mail that, you know, we think of as bad, turn it in. That's what a junk journal is. So here, let me throw a few pages together and halfway build a journal. So, of course, try to make sure you don't have anything that has your address on it and dox yourself everywhere. Like that says local customer, so it's fine. So the ones that haven't been opened or anything, I usually use for tags. And that's just a junky piece of scrapbook paper. And like this, and because this has a third flap, someplace it did, then I could do this on like that. So we would have a journal. Okay, did you follow all that? Because I was being crazy. So this is a 3 little flippy thing that I got junk mail. Opened it up, piece of scrapbook paper. Stick that in the middle of there. And this in the middle of there. And then this will be glued on like that. And I can cut this short. Let's fold it in half for the moment. And I'll glue it on where that's a pocket. And so we'll have this. And that makes that upside down. But in the end, it does not really matter. Actually, I'm not going to make that a pocket because I cut a piece out of that. So we're going to make that so it's solid. And then I can use one of these as another. So this could be a 2-signature journal if you wanted to put the signature over here. So when you open it, you have a trifold. So don't get caught up in you have to have a specific thing. You can use wrapping paper. I have tons of wrapping paper that I plan on cutting up and put in my journals. Here is my this is my first full-sized journal. I made a bunch of the scrapbook ones. And this is an altered book, and it's a glued spine. So I just cut out pages. And this on the cover is a grocery bag wadded up, and then wadded up some more. And then while it's wadded up, you ink it, and then you unfold it and smash it all back out. And that's a napkin and some acrylic paint and a piece of cardstock, my handwriting. So these are scraps from stuff. This was a book page that had the lady who owned the book in 1954. And then somewhere on one of the pages, she wrote, "She loves Joe Walker." And I saved it. And this was out of a book, and my handwriting. This was, I drew a heart and colored it in, and that's it. Starbucks thing. Napkin over top of one of the pages. Because the thing is you get one of these for 99 cents someplace, and you pull out all this, like 3 out of every 4 pages to start with. And then you have a bunch of book pages to use as your fodder. But so this is all scraps. I had a book on advertising, and this is like the back side of this. I'm not going to hold it over for long because I actually journaled on the back of that. This is out of our local co-op has a thing every year that tells where the festivals are in town. So that's out of that. So it's mostly trash. Dollar Tree ribbon. These were die cuts. I think I made those on my Cricut just because I wanted to see if I could make something that fine. This just a little spinner toy I bought, and I found him too amusing to not put in here because I'm a toddler. And so if you worked in schools, I slit the page and then I took pieces of magazine and just wove it through. So you may be looking at it being like, that is heinous. And that's fine. But it was me experimenting with different techniques. So this was literally, I just folded over the page next to it and made a pocket, and then I put half of the picture of a quilt on that side and half on that side. This is a future pocket so I didn't have my sewing machine out, so I did faux stitching. Oh my gosh, this camera is going to make me say some words. the light. Is that better? Lord. So dramatic, that camera. This is a piece of paper that I colored with a marker and then cut to look like a feather. And a piece of, so, you know, at the front of the book, there's the pages that are just solid with some stamping on it. Piece of washi tape. Piece of that bookend page stencil. This was from the restaurant. Starburst. So, it's easy to get caught up in, I need the next big thing. I have a real problem with stuff. I am attempting to get back to where I can see you. But you don't have to have stuff. So here, I'm going to flip through this quick. So I just took these pages in a row and cut them wibbly, which this is one of my favorite things in this book is those wibbly pages. This is from a campground we stayed at, and that's the little opening part. This is book page that I ink splashed on. Another thing from napkin, goldfish. And I was just experimenting with, here's belly bands and then this will go someplace in the journal, and that's the inside of I just peeled the layers of corrugated. This was my birthday card, and it was I don't like to keep all of my birthday cards just because it gets to be hectic and I don't have enough room. So I cut out the main image, and then I put that it was for my 50th birthday, and I put where Grandma signed it, and that was off of the sweatshirt she got me. So I basically took my birthday card and the wrapping paper it came in and made a page, and then this was the envelope. So this was a prompt for Pam the other day. So these are just scrapbook paper and an envelope, stamp. This is a card I intend to put in here. Haven't done it yet. This was the packaging off some gummy bears. Here you go. You have paint. This is literally, I painted this page blue and then put a Snicky Snake and stuff on it, and then a haunted house. So I just was feeling, I had some Halloween stuff, and I just felt like doing a section for collage paper. More, this is painted paper in the background. This, let me make sure. Yeah, this is a card from a client who recently, she passed away a year ago, but she passed away not long after she gave me this card. And then this was part of the gift, and I'm going to make it into a journaling card. And I would like to add her obituary in there so that, you know, always remember. And then this is just a little bulb pin and a puppy dog. And another journaling card that's scrapbook paper, another napkin. This card that Grandma Kathy got me from Duncan, and so on this side I made a note about when I got the card. I'm not going to hold it under there because it has some personal stuff, but nothing bad, just personal. And that goes in here, so when I look at my journal, I can remember what year I got this card and how I felt when I got it and what it meant to me to be remembered, and etc. And then this card I actually have out because my grandma's about to be 102, and I liked her signature in this, so I want this card in here for her signature. So let me see. Here are the pages. So the other night while I was on Pam's live, I did this using a shortbread box, a box from Shortbread Cookies. So it is one piece of scrapbook paper, 2 pieces of washi. Okay, 2 pieces of scrapbook paper, one roll of washi and the box that the stuff came in. And so I left this on so we could do a little flippy flappy. And that's all I did the other morning is put this together. And I love it, by the way. It makes me unduly happy. So this is going to be my December daily. And then I decided I made the spine big enough, like 1.5 inches, so that I could do 3 little signatures. So I got coordinating scrapbook paper, and then in each of these I put a little, here's scrapbook paper, like an old map I found at a Goodwill, graph paper. This is scribble paper from my friend's grandkids, book page, scrapbook paper, paper I got at Goodwill that was like from a company that went defunct, and I just cut their letterhead off. So each of them has that similar layout. And now I have all this to decorate. And it could be, I could do nothing else to it other than gesso over or put plain paper over the top of the ones that have scribbles to write on and have my journal. This one or the Reader's Digest one. The Reader's Digest one is a really good starting one if you're just going to do, if you want to do one that looks like a book. But let me see if I have a full sheet that's decent thickness here. I have a lot of different kinds of scrapbook paper, and some brands do not do well being folded. They don't stand up like they should. This is Echo Park. It's pretty solid. Perfect. All right, are you with me? I promise I'll send you a care package. There will be at least a couple sheets of scrapbook paper you can do this with. There's people in here spying on us, Julia. All right. A general rule, a good rule of thumb for how tall your journal should be. Let me zoom back out a second. Come on, you can do it. There we go. Excuse the mess. If you're going to try to use simple things to make your signatures, 8.5 by 11 is what size letter sized paper is. So 8.5 or 9 or a little bit somewhere in between is a good size for you to make a journal, because let me make sure none of this, this needs to be not directional so that when we flip the pocket, it's not going to hurt anything. So I'm going to do just 8 3/4 as my height. And this is a scoring blade, not a cutting blade. Do not cut the bottom of your paper off. If you do not have a scoring blade, use your, here, I'll show you what you would do. I obviously already scored it, so I cheated. Take a ruler, lay it on there. Fold your paper until it gives into that spot. Fold it over. And then this is a 12-inch piece of paper, so we would fold it in half. I'm going to not use my scoring tool for you. If you're looking at trimmers with scorers, I know I just said not to buy anything, but if you're going to buy something, this is a the Stampin' Up! One. Spellbinders makes a similar one. It has a cutting and a scoring tool, and it's, I could never pick up a different tool, like, because I have a scoreboard, I have other, but they just sit there because it's all together. So, all right, tell me which. So, outside, inside, or and decide before we cut. I think I'm going to like this more. Line up corners. You can do it. What do you think? Flowers on the outside or wood on the outside? I like both. Decisions. And then I'm going to draw this because you can't see it. This is where inking has its advantages. All right. So, oh, that actually looks really cool on this wood color. So I'm going to do like a V like this. Drawing straight lines is not my superpower. I want them to match, so I'm going to do this. And stop short of your little fold there. And you could do this same thing with this and then cover it with pretty wrapping paper or whatever you have floating around. So did you decide yet which one's inside and which one's out? I have to have your help. And I like my corners rounded. I do own a corner rounder, but if you do not own a corner rounder, you can do this. Okay, flowers on the outside of this. All right, so if you're into the sewing thing, you could sew these closed. I like sewing and I like the way it looks sewed, but I do not like getting up from my desk, going in the other room, uncovering my sewing machine and all of those things because, well, I just don't. So I'm going to ink these so you see that there's the difference. I don't know that I would have otherwise, but when I put it on there, I do like it on this wood color. Like it's this vintage photo is a nice color on there. I could also use like a smoky brown color of any ink. I would say if you're going to buy ink, buy a water-based, so dye ink in a couple of basic colors, and don't get caught up in the brand, but do not buy like the Michaels store brand or whatever, because they tend to be drier. You're actually wasting money because you'll end up having to replace it sooner. Uh-oh. So I'm not sure why I bothered to do that because we're going to sew a signature in there. So let's say you don't have anything in your house except for printer paper. Ma'am, it is way past your bedtime. Mm-mm. All right, I'm back. Yes, the chat is slow. There's always a lag, and apparently there's a way to make it less laggy, but I have not figured it out. I am going to real quick glue the pockets down. We could have left this so that we didn't cut out that middle, but doing that allows us to sew in the signatures and to be less awkward. I'm also going to round the tip of this. I don't like the way that looks.
Sorry, Liam called me because he needed help with his homework. They're personal questions.
Hey, Lillian, it is 10:30. Liam's problems are Liam's problems. Go to bed.
Yeah.
I love you.
Love you.
You look like a silly person.
I know.
I'm on live. Go away.
Like, extra silly.
I know.
They're personal questions about himself.
Okay. Good night.
Night.
Love you. That's the definition of personal questions, by the way.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Teenager problems.
Is Pam on?
No, Pam is not on right now. She'll be on in a half an hour. I'll tell her you said hi.
Okay. Do I know anybody else?
Julia.
Hi.
You don't know her. Hi, Julia. Lily's your friend now.
Yeah.
Yeah, you wouldn't think with it just being you, Julia, it would be this slow. You could have flown here by now. Anyway, so you could take your envelopes that you got. Okay, let's say you have that. I don't want to use the... Okay. I literally own an envelope opener and do not know where it's at. The other reason not to buy every single thing you see. Because it doesn't matter if you have it, it's hiding. So I was saying about letter paper being 8.5 by 11. That means when you fold this, it's 8.5 by 5.5. So it fits perfectly in a half of the. So let's do that. That's the page. Which I don't know that I care that that's not ripped more equally, but for whatever reason right now it's bothering me. She's actually off to bed finally now, theoretically. So that's sticking out just a hair. Make sure nothing's... Ooh, I'm glad I didn't just chop it in there because I would have chopped the wrong end. Are you putting any things together? Do you have any stuff? It's making me crazy over here. I want to like come to your house and bring you goodies because I'm a like gifter is my side hustle. Like I really enjoy finding things that people like, and you know, like I could be a personal shopper. It would be I would be a cool gig. So let me see what other crap junk mail I have floating around. Oh, hold on. I haven't used. I'm wandering away again. course, it's not super handy, but so your shopping bags, grab those. Okay. I'm wearing my headset and there's no sound, so I'm taking those off because they're hurting my ear holes. And I am glad I'm not on camera today because I'm having a tremendously bad hair day. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Half. Uh-oh. Are our owls okay going that way, or do our owls need to go this way? Let's do our owls this way. This came on a gift from a friend last year, and I put it in a file for making a cool journal later. And I had more pieces than this. My daughter is an amazing little person, so I'm not lamenting the teenage years too badly. She has her moments, like she has ADHD, so we have our moments with that. But she is the kindest spirited human I have ever had the pleasure of knowing. I did not give birth to her, so I can't take credit for whatever genes she got for that, but I hope I've influenced her along the way to be a decent human, and she's just amazing. So let's pretend for a second that this is just a piece of a grocery bag or your bag from somewhere around here. I have my bag from Jimmy John's the other day because Jimmy John's currently doing pickles. So every sheet you put in your junk journal like this, which I wouldn't put this directly on the outside because even with the junk journal, I want the theme to kind of like to not clash between two pages, like the pages be okay next to each other. Each page ends up being 4 writing pages. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pages. So you would have 20 writing surfaces in this with just this stuff. And with something this size, you could get away with stapling it. Just instead of worrying about sewing in a signature yet, just take your string, which of course, hold on, I have some yarn here. And just do this a couple of times. And that will hold in your signatures even though they're not sewn in. So obviously sewing in is, you're going to have needles, some thread, and an awl, or I don't use an awl all the time. I sometimes literally use a protractor that has a stabby or a pokey tool of any sort. So just something you can stab a hole with, you can use for an awl. But I do now have a kit for sewing mine. You can also just punch holes with a simple hole punch, which of course mine is one of the ridiculous expensive ones. Because I do enough of it now that I found a way to justify it to myself. Punch. And you can also, lives do restream, so you're also welcome to, and in a little bit, I'm going to go watch Pam, so, we can always revisit and whatnot. Before you sew your signatures in, anytime you do this, first of all, try to do a better job with your holes than I did. We'll pretend I meant to have it on the front, so it's pretty, right? Make sure all your pages are right side up. And if you have any stamps or whatever, do that. Hold on. I just unlined all my stuff. When you punch the holes, you should probably leave your stuff lined up instead of messing with it. I'm good at teaching you what not to do. We'll say I do it on purpose. Not that I too have ADHD. So it's a good idea to paper clip your crap together when you do this. So I'll sit down tonight and make a list of cool things that I would have wanted when I first started and send you a care package. I have a bunch of stuff that I want that I need to get rid of anyway. And I thought about doing an Etsy page, but then I realized how expensive it is to have Etsy. And I'm like, no, I'm not sharing my money with them. It's funny. I will give my last dollar to somebody who needs it, but a company like that, I don't know why, it just drives me nuts. Yeah, seriously, if you collect what you get in the mail every day for 4 or 5 days, you easily can make a journal. Like, should not be a problem. This stuff that I pulled out is like 2 days of mail, and sometimes I get, like, our grocery store sends us the little envelope that has the coupons for whatever it is you bought. You know, like if you buy milk, they usually send you like 1 free gallon of milk or something. I don't know. It comes in a cute little envelope, and I've turned it into stuff in the past. So I just tied that through those 2 little holes. And this is where having, you know, Lily still be awake would have been ideal, but I would put more pages if this was going to be your actual, like, long-term journal, but one sheet of the semi-solid scrapbook paper. This could also be one of those envelopes from the, you know, when you get stuff from Goodwill. I think it's funny. Look, it just happens to go with this. So if, you know, you're just starting and you want to be involved in the December daily thing, but not overextend yourself, make one out of flippy flappy junk journals, like, you know, literal junk. I mean, it's how this all started. So don't feel bad if, you know, you use actual junk. So it wouldn't have to be. And then, you know, when you get your first Christmas card of the year, glue it down on there. And because it's a, look, I left out a page, but because this is like that, Nana. And I could give that a little tighten. But yeah, so let's say you got a Christmas card. This is not a store-bought card. This is a card I made. You put it on here. You say who it's from. You put a piece of paper there, and now you have additional flippy flappies in your card. Where did I put my... There it is. I've seen if my binding had started to dry or not. This is where I find out if it's... Yay! I will add some more glue to it before I... My journal will go back together, I think. So... I've been giving Julia private journal lessons while you were not here. She's a brand new newbie. No, I don't like the way that looks with the, so I'm just going to cover it up. I assume, I say, yeah, it's 10:40. Pam will be on soon. I'm going to try to stay up and hang out with her, but boy, I've been like getting tired early. I'm old, I guess. I don't know. This glue might make me be able to stay up or knock me out, one of the two. Right? Welcome to the madness, Julia. It's a problem for sure. I have like 40 little golden books that I intend to make into journals and definitely will not get to all of them in my lifetime. But they're in there if I do. Yeah, here. You missed it, Tina. I taught her to make this little cute thing with just scrapbook paper and her scraps because she doesn't have lots of goodies. And then a flippy flappy using her junk mail. So we've got another one. One of us. Sorry. This is the latest you've been up in a couple of weeks. I know, man. And I'm a night person by nature, but all this years of getting up with the kids apparently is, I figure about the time I can stay up late because I retire, I won't be able to. Okay, you go back over there to dry some more, ma'am. See, now you've made me want to glue together my flippy flappy. She didn't know there was a use for her junk mail. Now I know how, a little bit how Juju does so many journals in a night. People are ask questions and then you see a squirrel and you leave the state for a minute. Don't fall down. Thank you. Get up, take a walk around, Tina. Walk in circles. You can do it. Boy, I'm going to have to take this in, and that's why I have a glass mat, because I'm a disaster. Sorry about how to craft a lamp. So I am just turning this. This is an ugly piece of scrapbook paper. Nothing personal, scrapbook paper. You didn't do anything to deserve that. Sorry. Oh, mercy. That's a piece of scrapbook paper I loved less than I love some of my other scrapbook paper. And so I just used it. I'm going to use it to make another flap in this little flippy flappy book. And I plan to use this thing as just a glue book this year, which I have never done, just a straight glue book, because I sort of feel like it's therapeutic and I don't have to think too hard. And Christmas time can be a lot of too much thinking and too much stressing. So... Oh my gosh, 40 little golden books. Somebody loves you. You have to let me know if you have the after Pam told me they had the large and growly bear one. Now I'm on a mission to find the dang thing, and apparently it's not a common one. Like some of them, you search little, like Pokey Little Puppy, and you can find hundreds of them for sale. This one, have not found one, so that's on my mission, and maybe I can get her to trade me for that kitty when I'm picking her up. Yeah, I think that's the way I feel about mine, is there's no way I'm getting to all of that many. How did I manage to go right over that seam? The large and growly bear, I think it was called. It's got a bear on the front, and that's large and growly. I mean, you can't tell he's growly from the picture. But I call my son Duncan Bear, and so I literally have like a bear tattooed on my foot, and so it has sort of a second meaning for me. Which one do I want to be the front? Decisions. Uh-oh. Hi, Naruto. I assume I said your name right. If not, I apologize. That'd be awesome, Tina. I'd be happy to pay you for it. I'm adding another flippy flappy here. I cut this end open, so this will be a pocket. Sneaky. So if you glue all your flippy flappies on before you decorate, then when you go to decorate, like the paper will cover up all your seams if you want them. Well, in this case, I guess I won't be able to use the pocket if I do that. We'll see what happens. And then I'm going to cut this up the side so that we can put stuff in it from the side. See? Uh-oh, Beth. What are we gluing back to back? Oh, these. Too late. The freaking chat is so slow. I glued them so they were a trifold. Hold on. Now I have it all jacked up. I can't figure out which part starts where. It's because I've got them held together. So we have a trifold. And this is wrong side up, I'm aware, but I plan to cover it all. So, and I have got to get my printer working so I can print the rest of this digital because I want to use it. And I'm going to be really mad if my printer won't get fixed. And when I decorate, I'm going to go over the lines because the staples on this ad are not holding up great. Thanks, Beth. Oh, hold on, Beth. Something over here I found for you. I know, I'm annoying. Vintage. Where is my phone? She's in here. There she is. Be Happy Stationery. It's called Have a Whimsy Christmas. And it has however many pages was in the original one. And then whenever she adds stuff, she makes new stuff she adds to the file. So there's a freebie as well. It's freaking adorable. Look, a raccoon. Pam is messaging us. I think she's about to go live. Look at the fox. What does a fox say? I'm your new best friend. Woohoo! Oh, I have an Echo Tank, and it basically tried to print with no paper in it, and then I think it got ink all over its sensors, and now it says it has a paper jam, but obviously it doesn't have a paper jam, it has an ink jam, and I don't know how to unjam ink. And I don't have the emotional energy for this right now. I need it to work and do what it's supposed to do. Be Happy Stationery, like B-double-E, Buzz on Ko-Fi. And she's at Junk Journal UK Community on Facebook. She's a very small, like, I think she has like 50 followers or something, but her stuff is adorable and she is sweet and I like buying her stuff. So is that Pam saying that she's online and that we have to all behave? And how did my phone get lost again in that amount of time? I don't even drink, people. Okay, sometimes, but not today. I set it someplace for safety. Aha. I put it backwards and I didn't see it because... What, Tina? What's, oh my God? The thing. Be sure to tell her I sent you because she didn't even pay me for this. I'm just kidding. Oh, yeah. Hold on. Let me see if I can. Oh, my goodness. There. Nutcracker. All right. Let's see if... Uh-oh. Yeah, it looks like she's on. I'll see if she has a join link. You guys can join me over there. No way. I'll send you money. I'll send you a teenager. I have kids. You can have one. All right, guys. I'm logging off because, you know, Pam's my journal godmother. Thanks for hanging, guys. Julie, I hope you learned some stuff. Come back around. Message me for real. I'll send you some goodies because I have extra. Talk to you later. Bye.